Nothing lasts forever, but I think the real question is, how long do they last? Hey, how's it going everyone? I'm DCSG81 and welcome back for another special video. I have been getting some questions from you guys asking me about the conditions of certain figures, like from ZT Toys or maybe from SH Figuarts, like has the paint been faded off, or maybe like Mayfax, how's the joint now, you know, those kind of questions. So which is why I'm making this video to consolidate all the figures that I have bought, especially those that I've gotten at the very early days, and I would like to share with you guys on what's their condition right now. So let's begin. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to start off with this War Machines from Hasbro. Yes, wow, this one I have checked some picture earlier in my computer and I've gotten it since 2011. Yeah, that's 11 years ago, and you can see that he's still looking pretty good. I don't think this is actually from Marvel Legends. I remember it is from Hasbro only. I'm not even sure whether Marvel Legend already exists or not. Okay, so as we can see, my goodness, he's still looking pretty awesome. The only problem that I have is there's slightly loose on the joint just below his torso. Yep, but he can still pose very well. Everything else is still very tight. You can see the ball joint is solid. Wow, and the paint is all good, and this figure is 11 years old. My goodness, this is such a good quality, and I believe he is of affordable price. Yeah, back then I think it's quite cheap, and you can see that I'm still keeping it until today. So this is a very well done job from Hasbro. And the next one I'm going to check is from SH Figuarts, which is this Goku. Yes, this is my very first SH Figuarts Goku, which is the base one, and this guy actually started up all my entire collections of over 50 figures of SH Figuarts Dragon Ball now. So let's take a closer look, and as happily as he smiles, you can see that he's still looking very good. There is no paint fading or any sort of that. Still looking pretty good. The joints are all still very tight, and my only gripes on him is that this piece itself, I'm not sure whether it's the right or the left, it drops off pretty easily, but I'm pretty sure that is not affected by the age. It's already like that ever since I gotten him last time, so it's not gotten loose or anything like that. Yes, you can see the legs all are still very tight. There is no floppy legs or whatsoever. Just to add on, I actually dropped this guy countless time, and there is no chips or whatsoever on the hair. Yeah, I'm so happy that there is no broken hair tips or whatsoever. So this is indeed a very good quality from the SH Figuarts. And still on the SH Figuarts, if you're talking about Marvel, I can't remember which is my oldest Marvel that I have gotten from SH Figuarts, but I'm going to share about these two Iron Man, which is the Mark 43 as well as Mark 45. Okay, so these two has been very famous for the paint fading. Yep, but this is not the first issue. This is actually the reissue. So I've gotten questions from some of you guys who actually asked me whether the fading still happens on the new one. So I've gotten this guy, I think, for maybe about 3 to 4 years now, so it does withstand some time already. So let's check out whether there's any paint fading issue with this new one, which I don't think so. They are still looking pretty good. The rates on the Mark 43 is slightly less intense as compared to the Mark 45, as you can see, but I don't think this is a paint fading, because I have seen pictures of this paint fading on the first issue, which is rather bad. You can see the red actually turns into pink. Yeah, but this one I think is still pretty good, and there is no floppy joint. Yeah, very good quality from the SH Figuarts, and you can see they are still looking pretty darn good. And since we were talking about Hasbro earlier on, let's move on to Marvel Legends. Yes, so these two figure I think is my oldest Marvel Legends. I've gotten them very long ago, And these are not the reissue. I believe there are some reissue for these two guys already, but mine is way earlier. Maybe it's the first issue. So let's take a look at the Scarlet Spider, and wow, it still looks very beautiful. And one thing I must say is that I kind of expect this thing to be floppy, but not for him. But for this one, you can see it's floppy already. Yeah, so it's very loose, but it still can hold on to poses. Yes, okay, but you can see that it's being loose. But this guy here is still very good, except for this portion here. Somehow the leg just kind of bend inwards. I'm not sure why. Yeah, I have not posed him to stand like that. I think sooner or later it will actually breaks on me. Yep, so okay, but it's still looking very good in terms of the paint. There is no sticky residue like some of you guys actually says that your figure actually gets sticky over time, but I believe this is very much to do with your display condition or your room condition, maybe too hot or too humid that cause it to be sticky. Mine is still all good. Okay, as for this symbiote Spider-Man, yep, still looks very good except for this portion here, and the legs looks very good for this one. There is no, you know, turning in. Yeah, it's all straight, so it's all still pretty good for the price point. I think these are a rather good quality. Now we'll move on to Figma, and I don't remember which is my very first Figma figure, but I do remember that I've gotten this Hulk for quite some time already. I actually bought him from another seller which have gotten him in 2016. I bought him over at 2018, which is 4 years ago, and the moment I got him is still in mint condition because he have not opened it up yet, so I bought him as new. So let's take a look at him. He's looking pretty darn good. I always love the shading on this Figma Hulk. As you can see, he still looks very good, and my only gripes with him is whenever I post the leg, it tends to fall off. This is not something that's gotten loose over time. It's already like this once it's out of the box. Yep, so there's no degradations of quality. I can see it's still very tight. Even at this area, everything is rather tight. Yep, you still need to have some force. You can see there's still some squeaking sound. Yep, so this is a very good quality again from Figma. Yep, there's no sticky issue, no paint fading issue. Everything else is still very awesome for this Hulk. Okay, so we know that the Figma, I think, is still a very premium quality to say the very least. Next, we'll check out the Storm Collectibles, and my very first Storm Collectibles is this Scorpion, okay, from Mortal Kombat, and this is like the very first Scorpion being released, and right now I think there are so many of him, like the reissue, repaint, everything else, but this guy here is like the very first one. Okay, so let's take a look at it. Still looking pretty good. Yep, no paint fading or whatsoever. So there's no looseness or anything like that. Everything else still holds on pretty well. Yep, can see that. Okay, so the joints all very good. There's no sticky issue with the paint. Everything else is still good. So for Storm Collectible, I think they are still a very good companies. You can rest assured that your figure will last. This guy, I think, if not wrong, I've been having him for at least 4 to 5 years now, maybe. Yeah, so it's a very long time by now. Next, I'll move on to this company called the Great Twins, and some of you guys has been asking me, how is this Terminator 2? The leather has been holding up. This is something like a platter, which is P leather, plastic leather. Yep, so as far as I can see right here, yeah, I do see there are some sort of like something like a degrade already. It's not as smooth as it used to be, and yeah, let's hope that it will not end up flaking. Right now there's no stickiness here, which is still good. Okay, but you can see that it starts to have something like it's just a matter of time. I think it will start to flake, but right now I think it's still pretty good. So for those of you who have been wondering how does it looks like now, you can see I think it still looks pretty okay. Yeah, not too bad. Next, let's move on to some Mayfax, and if I'm not mistaken, my very first Mayfax is this Deadshot. Okay, so I know when you see his face, you will think of oh wow, very unfortunate event, but let's forget about that and let's check out this figure here. And as you can see, the shading are pretty good and it's still looking very nice with all these guns behind him. Yep, this is what I like about Mayfax. This is very detailed, very nice. Everything else is still very tight. There's no looseness here. There's a gun here as well. Very cool figure. This is like awesome. Is this? Yeah, this can be removable as well. Wow, and the legs is still very tight, and the hands, yeah, the hands joints are still good. The head looks great. There's no pin fading. Everything is still as good as it looks when I first took him out. And if I'm not wrong, I've gotten this Bane shortly after, so this is like my second one if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, there is some problem. You can see the hand joint is very loose. Same goes for this hand. Yep, I don't really realize that until now because all this while I'm using the other hand with the shirts on with the overcoat. I just changed to this look just few days ago and I noticed that wow, it's starting to loosen up, but everything else is still looking pretty darn good. As you can see, oh, there are some looseness over here as well. Yeah, I think this actually happens over time, but in overall, yeah, they are still looking pretty good as a figure of itself. So I think Mayfax, yeah, I think still a very good brand altogether. Next, let's move on to some Mezco, and again, I don't remember which is my very first Mezco, but I remember that this Joker is one of the first, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, I have gotten him quite some time ago, and I believe you guys would like to check out the soft goods, which is still looking pretty darn good. Yep, there is no fading or there's no stickiness. Everything is very nice here, and the button is still there. There is nothing being dropped. Oh, I actually dropped this guy countless time again. He always seems to fall out because his leg is kind of weak. Yeah, sometimes it doesn't really support him, so he always, you know, just tip over, and you can see that his face looking as mania as always, but there is no pins being scraped off during the drops. Wow, this is really good looking, and he does have a gun during that time, but now I don't think so. Yeah, so everything else still looking good. The joints are still very tight. As you can see, I need to use some force. Yeah, so everything is still as good as it is. The next one is ZD Toys, and I know you guys want to know how does the paint been keeping. Yes, let's check out this Mark III. This one is not too long. I think I have him maybe just about a year or two. Yeah, that's the maximum. So let's see, the paint is still holding on pretty well. There's no paint fading or whatsoever. The joints, yeah, still pretty oh, okay. I speak too soon. There's already some floppiness here. Okay, but everything else, the legs are still in a good conditions. Yep, let's check out the back. Yes, everything is good. Yep, everything else is still good. There's no stickiness or whatsoever. Yep, still looking very real. Wow. And right up next, let's move on to the Revotech amazing Yamaguchi, and I do have the very first one. If I'm not wrong, this is the first one. If I'm wrong, then this is the first one. I kind of forgot, but these two are the pioneer. They are the very first two that been released. Let's take a look at Deadpool first. One thing I do notice is I remember the red is being more vibrant, and somehow it have gotten more darker over time. I'm not sure if it's just mine or do yours actually looks the same. Do drop me a comments and let me know about this. And again, this is like the very first Deadpool. I know there have been reissues on these two guys, but this one is like the first print of all. Yeah, so let's check it out. Yeah, I think it's still good. The joint, yeah, not too strong. Yeah, but you can still see there's some click. Yeah, there's still some clicks there, but it's very I think it's quite weak. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's still able to hold on to some poses. Oh, the clicking sound is still there. Yep, pretty good. Okay, but other than that, I think the hand, yeah, is kind of weak as the time goes by. And as for the Spider-Man, yes, same like the Deadpool. I think somehow the red has gotten darker over time. Okay, the segregations of the parts looks weird for a figure unless you post them in
marker.
unless you pose them in a very dynamic poses, otherwise they will look weird when they are standing in a museum pose. But let's go through the articulation. Yep, similar to the Deadpool, is rather weak for this left hand, but for the right hand you can still hear some clicking sound. Okay, somehow this one doesn't have it anymore, so this one is actually over time. Oh, the legs still have it. Yeah, I think over time they will actually start to lose out some of the joints quality. Yeah, so so I think it's still okay. Actually it's not that okay, because the best thing about these guys are they are able to pose dynamic poses, but if the joints are getting weaker, you can't really hold on to the poses, then it's like defeating the purpose of the Yamaguchi. Okay, so yeah, over time this might happen. And last but not least, I would like to check out this TB Leak as well, or better known as Pigeon. So I have this one, is my very first one, and of course she doesn't comes with this kimono. I actually place it on, so we are going to undress her. Reason why I undress her is to check out whether the silicone body is still holding on well. Yep, there are still clothing, sorry to disappoint you. Okay, so let's check whether there's any cracking or whatsoever. I think it's still looking pretty good. Okay, there's no cracking. Let's see whether there's any cracks on the hands. No, because this kind of material, silicones, are prone to crack over time. As of some of the 1/6 figure, they do have the, you know, the skin start to dry out and it cracks whenever you do some bending, but mine does seems to be still on a very good conditions there. Okay, so there you have it guys, for all the figures that I have, different kind of brands, how's their condition now after so long. Yeah, I do hope you find this video useful and entertaining, and I'll catch you again in my next video. And at the meantime, you can check out this video right over here.